situation, but it's working.
Okay. What can you tell us about yourself? How did you get into all of this? How did that happen?
You mean in terms of just making movies?
Yeah.
Years ago, I went to college on a music scholarship, and I had no idea, no inkling, no desire to make movies other than, I mean, I liked going to see movies, but that was about it. But just through the course of meeting a lot of people, living in a lot of different places around the country, and ultimately, we had talked about this previously, but moving to Hawaii, meeting some other individuals that were involved in movies in Los Angeles, and that one individual, because of my involvement in martial arts, would be Mike Stone. Mike Stone was living in Hollywood, and also is known as, or was, a karate champion, also a bodyguard for Elvis Presley, and then some people remember Mike Stone as being that individual that was in Cosmopolitan magazines, all the other magazines, because Priscilla Presley left Elvis for Mike. But
he's that Mike Stone.
He's that Mike Stone.
Oh,
right,
okay.
Yeah. But Mike and I struck up a relationship in terms of just being friends because of my involvement in martial arts. I was a professional kickboxer and lived and trained out of Maui, Hawaii. And Mike heard of what I was doing over there because Mike is a Maui resident. And I've been dabbling in script writing as well, and that interest primarily was in writing only. So Mike visited Maui, we talked, he told me some of the ideas he had in terms of wanting to produce a film, something that would be a vehicle for himself whereby he would star in it. He took a look at some of my writing and said, I like what you're doing, and I think it'd be good if we would collaborate on something. So we tossed ideas back and forth, and ultimately I ended up moving from Maui to Los Angeles and ended up residing in Tarzana for some years. So Mike and I...
What a change.
Yeah, big change. But Mike and I were neighbors, and what happened was that we did write the script. It was produced, Mike starred in it, and it went out in limited release, and it did quite well. So I wrote another script, and was going to produce that script. I was going to involve Fred Williamson, Shelley Winters in the lead roles. And timing, scheduling was off because of raising the funding and so forth, and I lost both of them in terms of they were off doing other projects. But Fred and I continued to talk over a period of time. And Fred, encouraged me to get in front of the camera myself because I had done instructional video before. So he said, Ivy, you've got a good look, and I think that you've got a grasp on what has to happen. So he did work with me on the acting techniques and so forth, and I ultimately hired a director from San Francisco, Paul Curiozzi. So I starred in the film, produced it from the script that I wrote, and took it to the overseas markets. It did very, 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 very well for us. I came back and did another. It did well. And another, and another, and another. So I am now on number 12.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Thank you.
That's wonderful. What encouragement or words of wisdom could you give to someone that's young out there and trying to think about getting into this business?
I think that they should look at just what you said. It is a business. Learn about the business. There are a lot of ins and outs to all that has to be done. There are reasons why certain things occur in the whole process of making movies. I'm out from time to time giving seminars, and I see other people doing the same thing in terms of seminars on filmmaking. And when it comes to the aesthetics of filmmaking, in terms of the camera, the film, lighting, all of these other things, you can learn in school or out. You can learn trial and error or whatever, but there's the business of it, and this is something that I emphasize. So many of my seminars will deal with the business of filmmaking. So going back to young filmmakers, learn the business. Learn the business.
And you were saying seminars. What do those consist of?
Just that. I mean, we talk about the idea of contracts, unions, and how that relates to the independent producer. There are reasons why certain things happen. To give you an example, when I was making my first films, people would look at the movie and say, Ivan, this is a great film, but maybe you could talk more in the movie. Well, when it comes to selling the picture overseas, you're looking at a buyer, say Germany, Spain, whatever. They are looking at having to take an American movie and either subtitle or dub the film. Lots and lots of dialogue means they've got to spend a lot more money to make the film work right. So what I'm looking at is telling the same story with pictures rather than trying to do it with so much dialogue. So what happens is I'm out there maybe making a film that looks the way it does, not a lot of dialogue, but easier to make a sale. So it's the business.
And so these are the types of things that you teach in your seminar?
Yes, right.
That's wonderful. How would one get in touch with you in regards to that?
Ivan Rogers at iQuest.net, and you can also visit ivanrogers.com is in my website. All of my contact information is on that website.
Okay, wonderful. And what basically can you tell me? You were in music, you say. You got a scholarship for music.
Yes, I went to Ball State University
Uh-huh.
on a music scholarship, and actually graduated from high school in '72, and then directly from there the following fall went to Ball State University. So I was in and out of college over a period of about 6 years, on and off the road, playing with various bands, including my own. Never graduated from college, but it was still a good experience. I learned a lot, and also had a nightclub.
No, were you a singer? Or?
No, I was a percussion major. I played drums.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was a lot of fun. And as I said, I never graduated, but if I had to do the whole thing over again, I would do it exactly the same way. It was a very, very, very good experience.
I think it's interesting that you talk about everything that happens to you as an experience, and it
Yeah.
sounds like you are able to integrate that into all aspects of your life. I find that very interesting.
Right, and then going back to talking about the films, the martial arts, the music. I don't use martial arts in my films, but the music has been one of those experiences that I talk about, because the music tells the audience how to feel. I'm able to bring these things all together through all of those experiences, and they're there in the films. So yes, good experiences.
Is martial arts related to music in that there's a rhythm?
There's a rhythm. There's movement. There's a certain mindset. There's a certain sensibility. There's a flow that you involve yourself in. It's a zone, so to speak, where you can relax, lock yourself into it, and whether it's playing music, you can get in that position where it's almost what we would call the effortless effort. You see yourself on the outside doing these things, and it is effortless. But it's just being more in touch with yourself as that relates to that particular action that you're performing. So, yeah, it all comes together, and it's good that way. But I had that desire when I was playing music to explore myself further in the sense of that physical realm, which is why I went into the martial arts, and I'm seeing all that, as I said, come together now through filmmaking.
Uh-huh. Wonderful. And you say you're on your 12th film. What would you say that you've learned the most?
I have learned that every time I do this, I make new mistakes. And going into it, you think, what's going to happen? I mean, because something is going to happen. It's not ever going to be a perfect effort, so to speak, but it's always just a learning experience, and that there's something new that pops up that you don't think is going to pop up.